Danger Girl. That was my alter ego in my 20s. But let me backtrack for a moment. I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. I was the typical suburban girl, sheltered, naive, didn't really get out much. Ended up going to college at East Carolina University, where I met a boy, just like these three ladies, at work, actually. We worked at Applebee's together, and we closed on Tuesday nights and fell in love. I ended up graduating, and he graduated, and then we stayed for a while. We stayed for a couple years. We lived in Greenville. Yes, people stay there after they graduate. Not very many people, and there are no jobs. But we did manage to find jobs. I got my MBA. And at that point, we realized we wanted something more out of life. We wanted to go explore. We wanted to get out there and see somewhere else. So we ended up moving to the mountains of Colorado. And we ended up settling down in Breckenridge, right near the Continental Divide. So it was really great. We had a wonderful time. I ended up becoming marketing director of a Hilton timeshare, but I did party really hard on the weekends. And we would go to this local ski resort called Arapahoe Basin. And Arapahoe Basin is right on the Continental Divide. If you've ever skied there, it's very cold. And you are pretty much over the tree line, so it's very cold. The only good time to ski in Arapahoe Basin is March, in my opinion. But we spent the whole first few months skiing, having fun, and we got to late March or so when we were tailgating. Yes, you tailgate at Arapahoe Basin as well. And we were tailgating, take a few runs, we come and tailgate, cook something meat related, and and just hang out. So we were hanging out one day, and we met some people that were up from Denver for the day, and we will call them the Denver people. Now, the Denver people consisted of 2 guys and 2 girls, 2 couples basically, and they were very excited about a hiking trip that they were planning on taking up to some abandoned hunting cabins on a mountain in Vail, somewhere outside Vail. And so we agreed to go, but I probably shouldn't have trusted them because they had no idea what they were doing. But we did. We were like, okay, well, you guys are from Colorado. You drive a Subaru Outback, so you must be legit, right? So we decided to meet them out at the base of this mountain and packed up our sleeping bags, some food, changed clothes, and headed out. Now, we're from Eastern North Carolina, okay? It's May, it's mid-May, right? So we figured, great, we'll just, pack some, we packed a coat, of course, because we're in Colorado, right? But we get out there, and we get out of the car, and we soon realized there was one item that we did not have that our comrades did have, and that was snowshoes. Now, my Eastern North Carolina raised mind could not comprehend that mid to late May I would need snowshoes. It's going to be 90 degrees, right? So I looked around, no snow. I looked up at the mountain. I saw a little bit of snow on the top. That was it. I was like, we're good. We weren't. So we start hiking up the mountain, and luckily we were able to park next to a stream, so we kind of knew, follow the stream up. The only guide we had, the Denver people had, was a paper map and a compass. And so we were like, oh, we trust them. Subaru Outback, yeah, it's all good. And so we're going up, and we are fine for, a mile and a half or so of hiking. And then we come to our first obstacle, which is a grove of trees, okay? So as we come to the trees, we're hiking. The further we go into the trees, the more snow. Because it hadn't been able to melt, right? Because it was shaded. And the further we get, a little bit more snow, a little bit more snow, until we are in waist-deep snow. So the Denver people, with their snowshoes looking all high and mighty, are hiking up ahead of us, and I'm trying to keep up, because my endurance is terrible. And people that live in Colorado are athletes. I mean, they're all athletes. Even the elderly are athletes. They would pass me. I would be hiking, and my husband would say, "The elderly are passing you, Heather." But, so I was last. Let's say I was last, okay? So not only am I exhausted, but I am having to pull myself out of waist-deep snow every few steps. So we're gingerly kind of walking, hoping not to break through. Every 5 or 6 steps, we're breaking through. So I have my first emotional breakdown. I start sobbing very quietly because I didn't want to embarrass myself. And I'm telling my husband, what have we gotten ourselves into? And the Denver people are ahead, probably rolling their eyes at me. And we finally get out of the grove of trees. And then they get out their map, and they're turning it around, and they've got their compass. And I quickly realize these people have no idea what they're doing. But onward, we're going to keep going. So we come to the next obstacle. And the next obstacle is a choice. You can either go up a steep cliff-like hill. There's always one more hill on a mountain. Don't let anybody tell you that there's not. So there's a hill. It's very steep, rocky hill. At least there's no snow on it, though. Or we could go around through another grove of trees. So you guys can probably guess what I chose. I chose the hill of death over the grove of trees. I didn't care if I was falling to my death. It's fine. So we go up. Of course, I'm last. I did neglect to tell you I brought my ski poles because I thought these would be really handy hiking sticks, right? Just downhill ski poles. I don't know what I was thinking. But they did come in handy because I had a guy literally pulling me up by my ski pole. And rocks are falling down under my feet. So every few steps I get up, I go back. I slide back down like 1 or 2. So it's literally 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I finally get up to the top. The Denver people are sitting there eating trail mix, just chatting, having a great time. And I get up to the top. They give me 5 seconds, and they're like, "Let's go." And I have my second emotional breakdown. Start bawling again. I can't do this. We'd probably been hiking 4 miles by then. Yeah, it was a long 4 miles. It had been hours. And we're halfway up the mountain. And we come to another grove of trees. So I start to walk. I start to sink. I think I sank maybe 3 times, and I said, I'm done. So I told my husband, I can't go any longer. I'm just going to sit down. So I found a tree to sit on, and the Denver people are like, "Oh, the cabin must be this way, sure." No idea. I gave them 5 minutes. I'm giving you guys 5 minutes. So they come back, and they're like, "We haven't found the cabin yet." So I said to my husband, "We're leaving, and these people can freeze. And if they do freeze, we'll call the ranger. It'll be fine." And we said to them, "We'll call the ranger. Don't worry if you need us to." We did have cell phones, even though it was only the year 2000. We didn't have smartphones, but we had cell phones. So we go down on our butts down the steep, right? And we're literally sliding down with rocks coming down around us. But we get to the bottom, And I had noticed that the sky was starting to get overcast, very overcast. And at some point after we had gotten down the cliff, the sky opened up, and big, fat snowflakes were pouring down on us. And it wasn't a flurry, they were pouring down on us. I remember looking up and just seeing it all dumping. So we had about 2 miles to hike back. We came back to the grove of trees, but there were more options, so that was good. You could either go through the grove of trees, which I was not going through. You could go up the middle, which was still waist-deep snow, but not as deep because the sun had hit, Or you could go along the stream, which was covered in thorn bushes. So, I took the logical choice. I went up the middle, right? My husband decided to brave the thorn bushes. So he was probably about 20 feet from me and coming in and out of the thorn bushes, and I'm crawling with my ski poles. It was comical, I'm sure, over the snow, trying not to sink, when I see it. I look to my left, and I see a giant, freshly made paw print from a bear. It was absolutely a bear. Have you guys ever seen those black and white movies where the man jumps up on the water and runs across the water? That was me. And I ran so fast that I did not sink. At least I don't remember sinking. I just remember running in terror, yelling at my husband, "Move it, bear, come on, come on." At that moment, I had great endurance. And he had to run to catch up with me. But I had gotten past the snow, the hard-fallen snow, into the last path to the SUV. And so he's following me, and I'm screaming, "Hey, bear, hey, bear," and I'm banging my ski poles together because that's what you do. You make a lot of noise if there's a bear. And we finally get to the car, and luckily we did not see the bear, so thank God. And I'm so exhausted at this moment because my adrenaline has obviously worn off that I couldn't even lift my hiking boots into the car. I had to get him to lift my feet for me. So we're driving down the mountain, and I had only had maybe a handful of trail mix because the Denver people did not let me rest. And I was starving. I probably burned like 10,000 calories that day, right? And we get to a convenience store. I was like, "Pull over, we're getting something." And I had the gooeyest, ham cheesiest, most delicious Hot Pocket I've ever had in my entire life. And there was some lessons I definitely learned besides my newfound love for Hot Pockets. I learned that even though we failed many times that day, and we failed many times, it was worth it to do the thing, to get out there and experience life, because I have never felt so empowered and just powerful and grateful for my life as I did after that experience. And the Denver people never made it to the cabin. Thank you.